Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. All right guys, so today on the channel, we're talking about must-have essential items to make your winter hot tenting experience a lot more comfortable. So let's get to it. Up here, we have fans. The great thing about having a fan in a hot tent is that what often happens is all that heat is going to get trapped in the top where you're not really using it. So the fan is going to allow you to blow the heat downwards. This makes all the difference. While you're carrying this and while it's going to require you to, haul it out into the bush, you're actually going to need a lot less wood, because a lot of that heat energy generated from your logs is going to be lost. Just going to go up and eventually radiate out of the top of the tent. And when you're sleeping on the floor at night, the temperature difference between the ground and the top of your tent could be 25-30 degrees. So you want to get some of that 30-degree heat down into the bottom of the tent, and you really do need a fan in order to do that. And oftentimes they will also have a light on them, and having that in your tent at night is incredibly convenient. This is rechargeable, like I said, by lithium. So that means you can hook it up to a portable charger, you can hook it up to a solar panel, and it's going to recharge. You really don't need a whole lot. You just need something to move that warm air down. So I can just tell just from doing this right now, it's like a heater blowing down. It's sinful not to use all that heat up here. You can hang these. A lot of them will have little hangers, or you can just, if you have a net up here, you just set it like that. If I was to say there was the most important accessory for your wood stove tent, it's a fan. When you want to get the party started fast, you put birch bark to the task. I still got rhymes. My next suggestion is one of these ice fishing buckets. A bucket is just a great multi-purpose tool. You can use it to put your snow that you're going to be drinking. Oftentimes, if you're just using a pot, that pot is just going to amount to a tiny little bit of water. So if you can go use your bucket to fetch snow. Right now, I have some smaller chunks of wood in here and some kindling. And of course, it also acts as a nice, comfortable seat. These ice fishing buckets have this insulated seat on it as well. So a bucket is just a great multi-purpose thing. When you're packing out your sled, you want to try to make sure everything is multi-purpose. If you don't have to carry around a chair because you have something like this that you can sit on, that's going to be incredibly convenient. Now, is it something you're going to lounge in all night? No, not necessarily. But it's also just a rigid platform. You can use it as a table. Obviously, it has a lot of ice fishing applications. You can put your rod, you can put your tip ups, you can put your bait, your lures, all that stuff. So bucket is a must-have for your winter hot tent camping. Next on the list is this carbon monoxide detector. These are going to be very important, especially if you're doing overnight camping. This is something you should have in your winter preparedness kit just in general, whether you're doing winter hot tenting regardless. Because if you're on the move, if you're using combustibles in a confined area and there's not very good ventilation, then you run the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Doesn't always mean you're gonna die, but it's definitely not good for you. So I would strongly encourage you to have something like this just as an indicator, and you can set it to detect various different levels. You can get these off Amazon, they're a dime a dozen. You also wanna make sure that you're having good wood stove management, that your vents and your air intake valves are properly set so that there's no smoke ingress. Regardless, you're still going to get carbon monoxide no matter how sealed your wood stove is in very, very small increments. And this is of course why you're going to have some parts of your tent that are going to be vented. You should always have a little vent open. You're not going to die, but it could give you headaches. It could make you feel not that good. So that's definitely something that you're going to want. One great piece of kit to have is just a piece of leather. This is a Haltifor's stropping piece of leather. So you can use this to polish your blade You could use it to sharpen a knife. It would take a long time, but you could put an edge on a knife with it. Also, when you're dealing with wood stoves, that typically means that things get hot. So you can use this to either grab stuff out of the stove, or you can use it to open and close various chambers of the stove. You could use it just for a variety of things. I mean, the amount of uses are endless. It's just a very durable, fire-resistant, heat-resistant material that is going to last a lifetime. This is another thing that you're going to wish you had in a wood stove tent, is a collapsible table. Okay, this one is actually by Winterwell, and it has 2 levels, so you can utilize all that space, and it's just way better than, you know, trying to always have to fumble around or hold stuff. It's worth the wait to pack in something like this. There's many different types of folding tables, but having a platform that's nice and flat to work on is going to make your life all the more easier when you're out here camping in the bush. So another must-have for your wood stove or winter tent experience is a bug out roll. This is made in Canada. This is made with the hardest, heaviest duty materials. We're talking about a 1000 denier Cordura fabric. We got our number 10 YKK zippers, virtually indestructible. This is a 30 gauge vinyl. It's cold crack resistant. It's heat resistant. I've tested it in a variety of different climates, and it gets better as time goes on because it gets more elastic. So this is just a great way to organize all your gear so you're not losing anything in the tent. The other thing you may want to consider for your winter tent are these glow tapes. So you can put this on anything that you might need to access in the dark. And yeah, just a cool little addition. Next is some kind of fur. This is a beaver throw. You're not always going to have access to something like this, but you can get sheepskin that you can put on the ground. It's going to be great to sleep on. It's going to be great just to have a place to kneel down so you're not kneeling down on the cold ground. Fur, it gets wet, but the water doesn't adhere to it, so it's not going to absorb any moisture. So you can quickly brush the snow off, brush the water off, and it's just a nice platform. It's going to add to the R value of your shelter. You can get caribou. A lot of people use caribou. You can throw that right on the ground. This I had custom made so that it could be thrown right on the ground, and it's got a really thick 1000 denier Cordura fabric on the back. It's got wool liner inside, and then of course it has this beaver fur, which is incredibly strong, incredibly warm. So having some kind of fur in your tent is going to go a long way. You can't not show the Rambowie knife again. We just had the Canadian knife maker on the channel not too long ago, and look at that badass blade, man. That is sick. I just want to like go on a rampage when I hold this thing. So last but not least, our trusty thermo-reflective liner. You can use this for just about everything. This is a must-have for winter survival. You can use this to line the floor. You can put it underneath the floor of your tent. You can put it underneath your sleeping bag. You can put it along the sides of the tent. You can even attach it to the top, so it's going to reflect more of that heat. This stuff is not very expensive. I'm pretty sure you can get a roll like this for maybe 20 bucks or so. This roll, when I first started with it, was a lot bigger, so you get a lot more. Oftentimes with a wood stove tent like this, if you have a decent thickness to the material, if you just pair one more thing with that, that ups the ability to retain heat by a significant margin. In winter survival, calories are king. It takes calories to go and collect food. It takes calories to harvest firewood. So you want to minimize the amount of firewood that you're going to have to go and harvest. And if you can build your shelter in such a way where you don't have to expend as much energy, wood, in order to keep the shelter warm, then that's going to save you calories, which is going to extend your survival time. So a good shelter means less calories expended on thermogenesis, trying to keep your body warm using the fat that you have stored, burning the calories that you have on your person in your fat stores or whatever's in your stomach. You won't have to do that if your shelter is room temperature. So that's what you should be striving for. All right, guys, so thanks for stopping by. Let me know if there's any essential items that you take on your winter hot tenting excursions in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.